Have you ever found yourself waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the right opportunity to fall from the sky, waiting for someone to notice your potential, to give you permission, to finally come and save you from the life you're in and deliver you to the one you dream of? We are taught to wait. We are conditioned to look for a signal, for a helping hand, for a sign from the universe that it's finally our turn. But what if I told you that the sign you're waiting for is the sound of your own footsteps, walking away from the life of waiting and into the life of building? There is a simple, powerful, and often uncomfortable truth that most people spend their entire lives ignoring. It is the bedrock of every great success story and the ghost that haunts every unfulfilled dream. And that truth is this: nobody is coming. Nobody is coming to do the work for you. Nobody is coming to silence your doubts. Nobody is coming to hand you the discipline, the courage, or the focus required to build a life of meaning. Your life will only change on the day you decide to gather all of your scattered energy, all of your hopes, your fears, your power, and point it all inward. On you. Every dream you have, every goal you want to reach, every future you want to inhabit, depends entirely on your willingness to focus on yourself without distraction, without excuse, and without waiting for anyone's applause. It's about building a version of yourself so strong that no failure can break you and no rejection can deter you. The world doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who master themselves. If you're ready to make a change, stick with me. And if you find value in what you hear today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that can help you transform your life. Now let's begin. Chapter 1: The Unspoken Truth. No one is coming to save you. Let's begin with the foundation upon which everything else will be built. It is a stark and liberating realization: you are on your own. Now, this isn't a declaration of loneliness or despair. It's a declaration of power. It is the moment you stop being a passenger in your own life and finally take the wheel. For years, perhaps your entire life, you may have held on to a quiet, subconscious hope that someone or something would intervene. A mentor would discover you. A lucky break would change everything. The right person would come along and fix the broken parts. This is a fantasy that keeps us comfortable, but it also keeps us captive. It is the sweet-tasting poison of mediocrity. The moment you truly, deeply accept that you are the sole rescuer, the sole architect, and the sole driver of your destiny, a profound shift occurs. The weight of responsibility settles on your shoulders, yes, but with it comes an exhilarating sense of freedom. You are no longer waiting for the script to be handed to you. You are finally free to write it yourself. Think of it like being lost at sea. You can spend your days scanning the horizon, praying for a ship to appear. You can curse the storm that stranded you. You can blame the faulty map that led you here. And while you do all that, you are drifting. Your energy is spent on blame and hope, two of the most passive forces in the universe. But the moment you accept that no ship is coming, your focus changes entirely. You stop looking out, and you start looking at what you have. You see the wreckage of your old boat not as a symbol of your failure, but as raw material. You see your own two hands not as helpless appendages, but as tools. You start lashing logs together, You start weaving a sail from tattered clothes. You start building a raft. It may not be a yacht, but it is moving in a direction you choose. It is progress. It is power. That is what happens when you stop waiting to be saved. This is not to say that you cannot accept help or that community is not important. It is vital. But the mindset must shift from one of dependency to one of self-reliance. Help becomes a bonus, not a necessity. Support becomes a tailwind, not the engine. The engine is you. Ask yourself, honestly, in what areas of your life are you still waiting? Are you waiting to feel motivated before you go to the gym? Are you waiting for your boss to recognize your worth before you ask for a raise or build your own side business? Are you waiting for inspiration to strike before you write that first page, record that first song, or draft that business plan? Every moment of waiting is a moment you are outsourcing your power to circumstances you cannot control. Ownership begins when waiting ends. It is the conscious decision to say, the past is the past. The circumstances are what they are. From this point forward, the responsibility is mine. This isn't about blame. It's about empowerment. It's not your fault where you started, but it is 100% your responsibility where you finish. The world is full of people with brilliant ideas, incredible talents, and deep potential who are sitting on the sidelines of life, waiting for their name to be called. But the game doesn't work that way. You have to put yourself in the game. You have to be your own coach, your own cheerleader, and sometimes your own referee. So let this be day one, the day you stop scanning the horizon, the day you look down at your own hands and recognize the immense power they hold, the day you accept that the only person who can truly change your life, the only person who can build your dreams, the only person who can save you, is the one you see in the mirror. Chapter 2. The Architect of You. Building your strongest self daily. Once you accept that you are the builder, the next question becomes, what are you building with, and how? The answer is simple, yet it is where most people fail. You build your strongest self not with grand, sweeping gestures, but with the small, seemingly insignificant bricks of daily discipline. Your future life is not constructed in a single weekend of intense motivation. It is assembled brick by brick, day by day, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. You must become the architect of you. An architect doesn't just dream of a beautiful skyscraper. They obsess over the foundation. They understand that the strength of the entire structure depends on the integrity of what's happening at ground level. Your daily habits are your foundation. Every day you waste, every moment you let slip away scrolling mindlessly, every time you choose comfort over challenge, a crack forms in that foundation. Conversely, every day you show up, every time you choose the workout over the excuse, every hour you invest in learning instead of languishing, you are laying another solid brick. Most people never win because they are inconsistent architects. They get a burst of inspiration. They work furiously for a week, laying a few rows of bricks, and then they disappear. They get distracted by what the architect next door is building. They compare their foundation to someone else's finished skyscraper and feel discouraged. They take a month off, and when they return, they find weeds have grown over their work. The greatest gift you can give your future self is not talent, not luck, but an unbreakable commitment to laying one brick every single day. Whether you feel like it or not. Consider a young writer, let's call her Maya. Maya has a dream of writing a novel. On Monday, she's filled with passion. She writes 10 pages. She feels incredible. On Tuesday, she's tired. She tells herself she deserves a break. On Wednesday, a friend invites her out, and she thinks, I'll make up for it this weekend. The weekend comes and goes in a blur of errands and entertainment. A month later, those 10 pages are still sitting there, a monument to a fleeting moment of motivation. Now consider another writer, Leo. Leo's goal is also to write a novel, but his commitment isn't to passion, it's to the process. He commits to writing just 300 words a day. Some days the words flow and he writes 1,000. Some days it's like squeezing blood from a stone, and he struggles to get his 300 words down. It feels grueling and uninspired, but he does it. He does it when he's tired, when he's sick, when he's discouraged, when he feels like a fraud. After a year, Maya still has her 10 brilliant pages. Leo has a completed first draft of over 100,000 words. He didn't win because he was more talented or more inspired. He won because he was a better architect. He showed up and laid his brick every single day. Your strongest self isn't going to build itself. Your mind will not sharpen itself. Your discipline will not fall from the sky. You are responsible. It starts with the small decisions. It's choosing the bottle of water over the soda. It's choosing to read 10 pages of a book before bed instead of scrolling through a feed of curated lives. It's choosing to listen to a podcast that teaches you something on your commute instead of talk radio that just makes you angry. These are the bricks. Individually, they seem insignificant, but stacked over time, they build an impenetrable fortress of self-mastery. The real work happens when it's hard, when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when no one is clapping for you. Strength is not built in the spotlight. It is forged in the silence, in the struggle, when you are the only one who knows you showed up. That is when you are truly building. You are laying a foundation for a future that no one can ever take away from you. Because when you get stronger, everything in your life gets better. Your confidence improves. Your relationships deepen. Your opportunities expand. But it all starts with that one simple, non-negotiable commitment to lay your brick today, and then wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Chapter 3: The Fortress of the Mind. Silencing the world's noise. In the modern world, your attention is the most valuable currency you possess, and everyone is trying to steal it. Your focus is under constant assault. Every notification, every breaking news alert, every piece of gossip, every unsolicited opinion is a tiny crack in the walls of your mental fortress. If you are not vigilant, if you do not stand guard, your mind will become a public square, filled with the noise of the crowd, leaving no room for your own voice, your own vision, your own truth. Training your mind to ignore the noise is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of survival. Your dreams cannot grow in a climate of constant distraction and negativity. You have a finite amount of mental and emotional energy each day. Think of it as 100 units of energy. If you spend 20 units arguing with a stranger online, 15 units worrying about a politician's tweet, 10 units comparing your life to a friend's highlight reel on social media, and 25 units replaying a negative comment someone made about you. You're left with a meager 30 units to build your entire future. It's a losing battle. You cannot build a legacy on leftover energy. The first step in building your mental fortress is to become a ruthless gatekeeper. You must decide what is allowed inside. Get crystal clear on your mission. What are you trying to build? What truly matters to you? Once you know your destination, it becomes infinitely easier to recognize which roads are just noisy detours. If a piece of information, a conversation, or an activity does not help you grow stronger, think clearer, or move closer to your goals, it is noise, and you must treat it as such. Imagine a programmer, Sarah, who is trying to launch her own app. In the beginning, she tells everyone her idea. Her uncle tells her it's too risky. A friend tells her the market is too saturated. A comment on a forum tells her the technology she's using is outdated. If Sarah lets all this noise in, her internal monologue will be a chaotic mess of doubt. It's like trying to run 20 browser tabs in your brain at once. The system slows down, freezes, and eventually crashes. The fortified version of Sarah hears the noise, but it doesn't get past the gate. She acknowledges her uncle's concern as a reflection of his own fear of risk, not a verdict on her abilities. She sees her friend's comment as a data point to consider, not a stop sign. She ignores the anonymous forum comment entirely. She keeps her own voice, the voice that says, "I believe in this," as the dominant sound in her mind. Her energy isn't wasted on defending her dream to people who will never understand it. It is invested in building the dream itself. That is the power of a protected mind. This protection requires practice. It means consciously curating your information diet. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Mute notifications for apps that do nothing but steal your time. Politely exit conversations that are spiraling into negativity and gossip. You cannot control what the world broadcasts, but you can absolutely control which channels you tune into. There is immense freedom in realizing you do not need external validation to proceed. You don't need permission to chase your vision. You don't need a committee to approve your next move. The only voice you are ultimately accountable to is the one inside you that knows you were made for more. The critics, the doubters, the naysayers, they are not the architects of your life. They are just spectators. And you should never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Train your mind to be quiet when the world is loud. Learn to hear your own intuition above the roar of the crowd. Because when you no longer let criticism define you, when you no longer need constant approval, you become free. And in that freedom, you can finally build the life you were meant to live, undisturbed, focused, and powerful. Chapter 4. The Lone Wolf's Vow. Fighting for the dream only you can see. There will come a time on your journey when you look around and realize you are walking alone. The path to an extraordinary life is rarely a crowded one. When you decide to chase a dream that is bigger than your current reality, a dream that others find impractical or impossible, you must be prepared for the silence of disbelief. People may love you, they may care for you, but they cannot see the fire in your soul. They cannot feel the pull of the vision that was given to you, and only you. It is not their job to believe. It is yours. Fighting for your dream when no one believes is one of the most profound and character-forging experiences a person can endure. It is a lonely work. There will be nights you lie awake, the weight of your own ambition pressing down on you, wondering if you are crazy. There will be days when the lack of progress is so stark that the doubts of others begin to echo in your own mind. In these moments, your belief is all you have, and it must be enough. Think about the story of any great innovator or artist. Before the world celebrated them, it almost always ridiculed them. People were not lining up to invest in two brothers trying to build a flying machine in a bicycle shop. The establishment wasn't cheering for a young filmmaker who wanted to make a movie about wizards and a magical school. The belief had to come from within, long before there was any external evidence to support it. That solitary, stubborn belief is the seed of all greatness. This battle is fought on two fronts. The external front is dealing with the well-meaning but misguided advice of those around you. Your parents might urge you to take a safer path. Your friends might not understand why you're sacrificing your weekends to work on your little project. They are operating from a map of their own fears and limitations. You cannot be angry with them for not seeing your world. Your job is to simply keep walking your path with quiet determination. You do not need to win the argument. You need to win the long game. Respect comes after results, not before. But the more ferocious battle is the internal one. The external voices of doubt are only dangerous when they awaken the internal saboteur. That inner voice that whispers, maybe they're right. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe it's time to give up and be realistic. This is the real fight. You must become the master of your own inner world. You must learn to counter every doubt with a declaration of your purpose. You must learn to starve your fears and feed your faith. Consider an aspiring musician, Maria. She works a full-time job to pay her bills and spends every spare moment writing songs and playing in near-empty bars. Her family tells her it's a nice hobby, but it's time to focus on her real career. Her bandmates quit. Her savings dwindle. Every external sign is telling her to stop. She feels discouraged, lonely, and foolish. This is the moment of truth. She can either accept their reality, or she can double down on her own. She chooses to fight. She starts playing solo gigs. She learns how to produce her own music in her bedroom. She uses her last savings to record a small EP. She fights not for their applause, but for the integrity of the music inside her. She is willing to walk alone today, so she can stand on her own stage tomorrow. When you fight for your dreams, you develop a spiritual toughness, a resilience that cannot be bought or faked. Every no you receive forces you to find a new yes within yourself. Every failure becomes a lesson in strategy. Every moment of loneliness deepens your connection to your own purpose. You are not just building a business or a career. You are forging a soul. So, do not apologize for the fire in you. Do not shrink your ambition to make others feel comfortable. Your dream was given to you for a reason. It is your sacred responsibility to defend it, to nurture it, and to fight for it with every fiber of your being, especially when you are the only one on the battlefield. The dream is not given to the strongest or the fastest. It is given to the one who refuses to quit. Chapter 5. The currency of consistency, the art of showing up. If there is one word that separates the amateur from the professional, the dreamer from the doer, it is this: consistency. Motivation is a fickle friend. It arrives unannounced, full of energy and promise, and disappears just as quickly, leaving you alone to face the hard work. If your progress depends on the presence of motivation, you will live a life of short bursts and long, stagnant pauses. But if you build your life on the bedrock of consistency, you become an unstoppable force. Showing up for yourself every single day is the ultimate act of self-respect. It is the silent promise you make to your future self that you are serious. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel inspired. Not only when people are watching. Every single day. This is the currency with which you purchase your dreams. Most people fail not for lack of talent, but for lack of consistency. They have a brilliant start to the week, hitting the gym, eating healthy, working on their goals. But by Friday, the resolve has faded. The excuses have crept in. They tell themselves, "I'll start again fresh on Monday." But life is not a series of fresh starts. It is a continuous, compounding journey. The person who shows up on Friday, even when they're tired and uninspired, creates a momentum that the Monday person can only dream of. You have to be able to trust yourself. Think about it. How can you expect to build anything great if you cannot even rely on yourself to follow through on the small promises you make? When you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and you hit the snooze button, you erode that self-trust. When you promise yourself you'll work on your project for an hour and you get lost in a vortex of social media instead, you weaken your own foundation. Conversely, every time you honor your commitment, no matter how small, you build a powerful new identity. You are no longer the person who tries to be disciplined. You are the person who is disciplined. Showing up becomes who you are, not just something you do. This internal shift is more valuable than any single outcome. The goal isn't just to get the result. The goal is to become the person who is capable of achieving it. Let's look at an entrepreneur, David, who wants to build an online business. The first month is exciting. He's learning, building, and seeing tiny bits of progress. The second month, the novelty wears off. The work becomes repetitive. The results are slow. He feels like he's shouting into a void. This is the great filter. This is where motivation dies and consistency is tested. David feels like doing anything else. Watching a movie, going out, even cleaning his house. But he made a promise to himself. 2 hours of focused work every night. So he sits down. He does the boring, unglamorous work. He writes the emails. He analyzes the data. He makes the calls. He doesn't feel like a high-powered CEO. He feels like a grinder. And that is the secret. Success is not born in the moments of glamour. It is born in the grind. It is the sum total of thousands of small, unsexy, consistent efforts. While others are waiting for the perfect wave of motivation, David is paddling, day after day. And eventually, his consistent paddling puts him in the perfect position to catch the wave that carries him to success. It looked like luck to the people on the shore, but David knows it was earned in the monotony, in the discipline, in the simple, profound art of showing up. Some days, showing up will be your best performance. Other days, it will be a clumsy, half-hearted effort. It doesn't matter. The act of showing up itself is the victory. One small step forward is infinitely more powerful than standing still. You are signaling to the universe, and more importantly, to yourself that you are still in the fight. So stop waiting for the feeling. The feeling follows the action. Create a schedule. Set non-negotiable standards for yourself. Be the kind of person who can be counted on. By you. Because the life you want is not waiting for you on the other side of a lightning bolt of inspiration. It is waiting for you on the other side of today's consistent effort. Show up, especially when you don't want to. That's how you win. Chapter 6. The War on Distraction, Reclaiming Your Sacred Focus. Your future will be determined by one critical battle: the war for your focus. In our hyper-connected, overstimulated world, deep focus has become a superpower. It is the scarcest and most valuable resource for anyone trying to build a life of purpose. It's easy to have a goal. It's much harder to protect the time and energy required to actually work on it. If you do not get intentional and ruthless about eliminating distractions, your potential will be nibbled to death by 1,000 trivialities. Distractions are thieves. They don't smash your window and grab your television. Their theft is far more insidious. They steal your most irreplaceable asset, your time. They steal your creative energy. They steal your momentum. They steal the quiet moments where your best ideas are born. And each distraction comes with a hidden cost. The cost of a future that is being perpetually delayed. The first step in this war is to identify the enemy. You must conduct a brutally honest audit of your life. Where is your focus leaking? Be a detective. Is it the phone that buzzes every 2 minutes with a meaningless notification? Is it the endless scroll through social media feeds that leaves you feeling empty and anxious? Is it the coworker who pulls you into gossip and drama? Is it the internal chatter of self-doubt and overthinking? You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to name. Write them down. Acknowledge the thieves that have been robbing you blind. Once identified, you must create a focused environment. You cannot win a war fighting on enemy territory. It is foolish to expect to achieve deep work in an environment designed for maximum distraction. This means taking deliberate, practical steps. When it's time to work, put your phone in another room. Use software to block distracting websites. Clean your workspace so that your physical environment reflects the mental clarity you seek. Make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. You have to design your world to support your goals, not sabotage them. Think of a young graphic designer, Alex. He's talented, but he's struggling to meet deadlines. His process looks like this. He opens his design software, works for 10 minutes, then sees a notification. He checks his email. One email leads him to a news article. The article has a link to a funny video. An hour later, he's deep down a rabbit hole, his project file sitting untouched. He feels guilty, stressed, and even less motivated. His day is a chaotic series of starts and stops. Now, imagine a focused Alex. He's declared war on distraction. He sets a timer for a 90-minute deep work session. During this time, his phone is off and in a drawer. All notifications on his computer are disabled. His email client is closed. He has told his family not to interrupt him unless it's an emergency. For those 90 minutes, his entire universe consists of him and his project. He achieves more in that single session than he used to in an entire chaotic afternoon. He finishes his work feeling accomplished and energized, not drained and guilty. He didn't become more talented. He became more focused. But the war isn't just external. The most cunning distractions are the ones that live inside your own head. Fear of failure is a distraction. Worrying about what others think is a distraction. The desire for perfection, which leads to endless procrastination, is a distraction. You must learn to be the commander of your own mind. When these thoughts arise, you must learn to acknowledge them without surrendering to them. You can say to yourself, "I see you, fear, but you are not in charge right now. My focus is." Then you gently but firmly guide your attention back to the task at hand. You will have to make sacrifices. You will have to say no to things that seem appealing in the moment. You may miss out on some trending topics, some viral videos, some casual get-togethers. You will have to endure the temporary discomfort of being out of the loop. But what you will gain in return is infinitely more valuable. You will gain momentum. You will gain progress. You will gain the deep, soul-satisfying fulfillment of building something that matters. Your dream deserves your undivided attention. Your future deserves your full, unadulterated strength. So cut it out. If it weakens your focus, if it steals your time, if it drains your energy, cut it out. Be ruthless. Be relentless. For the life you want is waiting for you on the other side of the distractions you are willing to eliminate today. Chapter 7. The End of Blame. The Unbreakable Power of Absolute Ownership. There is a crossroads every person eventually reaches. Down one path lies the comfortable, well-trodden road of blame. On this road, nothing is ever your fault. Your lack of progress is because of the economy, your unfair boss, your unsupportive family, your difficult past. This road offers the temporary relief of victimhood, but it is a circular path that leads nowhere. The other path is steep, rugged, and requires immense courage. It is the path of absolute ownership. On this road, you accept responsibility for everything. Your decisions, your habits, your mindset, your reactions, your outcomes. This path is harder to walk, but it is the only one that leads to true power and freedom. As long as you are pointing a finger at someone or something else, you have given them control of your life. You have made them the jailer and yourself the prisoner. The moment you say, "This is my responsibility," you take the keys to the cell back into your own hands. This is the most profound shift you can make. It is the transition from a passive recipient of life to an active creator of it. Owning your life isn't about harsh self-criticism. It's not about beating yourself up for past mistakes. It is about soberly acknowledging reality and recognizing that you, and only you, have the power to create a different future. You cannot change the cards you were dealt, but you can, and you must, decide how you are going to play the hand. Consider two people who get laid off from the same company. The first person, let's call him Tom, immediately goes down the path of blame. He blames his manager for not seeing his value. He blames the company for its greed. He blames the economy. He spends his days complaining to friends, getting angry, and feeling sorry for himself. Weeks turn into months. He is stuck, paralyzed by his own resentment, waiting for the world to acknowledge its injustice. The second person, Jessica, feels the same initial shock and pain. She allows herself a day to be angry and disappointed. But on day 2, she chooses the path of ownership. She tells herself, "Okay, this happened. It's not what I wanted, but it's my reality now. What am I going to do about it? She doesn't waste energy on blame. Instead, she analyzes the situation. She asks herself, what skills could I have developed to be more indispensable? Where was I complacent? What can I learn from this? She updates her resume. She starts networking. She sees this not as an ending, but as an unexpected and challenging new beginning. While Tom is still stuck in the past, Jessica is actively building her future. She took the keys back. It might not be your fault that you were knocked down, but it is your responsibility to get back up. It might not be your fault that life was unfair, but it is your responsibility to cultivate a mindset of resilience. Responsibility is not about fault, it is about responsibility. The ability to choose your response. This requires radical honesty. You have to be willing to look in the mirror and admit when you've been lazy, when you've let fear win, when you've chosen the easy way out. Not to shame yourself, but to empower yourself. Because you cannot fix what you will not face. Every time you make an excuse, you are reinforcing a belief that you are powerless. Every time you take ownership, you are building the muscle of personal power. Nobody owes you anything. Not a dream job, not success, not happiness. These are not things that are given. They are things that are earned and created. Your life is your masterpiece, and you are holding the chisel and the stone. Blaming the stone for being too hard is a waste of time. Your job is to learn how to sculpt it. This is your life. Own your wins. Own your losses. Own your strengths. Own your weaknesses. Own your choices. Own your consequences. The moment you own it all is the moment you gain the power to change it all. Stop giving your power away. Take it back. It has been waiting for you this entire time. Chapter 8. The Alchemy of Pain. Pushing harder. When you want to quit, in every meaningful journey, there is a wall. It doesn't appear on any map, but you will know it when you hit it. It is the point where your initial enthusiasm has completely evaporated. It's where the work has become a grueling grind. It's where the finish line seems to be moving further away, not closer. Your body aches, your mind is exhausted, and a loud, seductive voice inside you starts whispering, "Just quit. It's not worth it. You've tried your best. No one will blame you." This moment, this wall, is the great separator. It is where the majority of people turn back. It is where dreams go to die. But it is also where champions are made. Success does not belong to those who never feel like quitting. It belongs to those who feel like quitting every other day, and yet choose to push forward anyway. You must learn the alchemy of pain. You must learn to transform the desire to quit into the fuel to push harder. When you feel that urge to stop, you have to train yourself to see it not as a signal of your limit, but as a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Growth does not happen in the comfort zone. Real strength is not built when things are easy. It is forged in the fire of resistance, right at the edge of your perceived capacity. Think of a marathon runner at mile 20. Her legs are screaming, her lungs are burning, every cell in her body is begging her to stop. This is the wall. The amateur listens to that voice and slows to a walk, their goal shrinking from finish strong to just finish. But the champion has a different conversation. When her body screams, "Stop," her mind replies, "Push." She leans into the discomfort. She focuses on her breathing, on her form, on taking just one more step. She knows that this pain is not her enemy. It is the crucible in which her victory is being forged. She is not just running a race against others. She is running a race against the weakest part of herself, and she is determined to win. You cannot let your temporary feelings dictate your permanent destiny. Your feelings are just weather. They are clouds passing in the sky of your mind. Some days will be sunny and clear, some days will be stormy and dark. But you are not the weather. You are the sky. Your commitment, your vision, your purpose, that must be as constant as the sky itself, regardless of the emotional weather passing through. When you feel like quitting, that is the time to dig deeper, not to retreat. Ask yourself, why did I start this? Reconnect with your initial vision. Remember the person you are trying to become. That future self is counting on you not to betray them for a moment of temporary comfort. Your future is more important than your feelings. Let me repeat that. Your future is more important than your feelings. This is a skill you can build. It's like a muscle. The first time you push past the urge to quit, it will be excruciating. But the next time, it will be a little easier. You are building mental toughness. You are proving to yourself that you are not a slave to your impulses. You are building a new identity, the identity of someone who finishes what they start. The temptation to quit is a liar. It tells you the pain will last forever. It tells you the effort isn't paying off. It tells you that you are wasting your time. But the truth is, the pain of discipline is temporary, while the pain of regret is permanent. The moment you push through that wall is the moment you access a new level of power. You discover a reserve of strength you never knew you had, and that discovery changes you forever. So when you reach your wall, do not see it as an obstacle. See it as an opportunity to prove to yourself how serious you are, an opportunity to become stronger, more resilient, and more disciplined than you were yesterday. Lean into the pain. Take one more step. Write one more sentence. Make one more call. Push harder. Your future self will look back at this exact moment and thank you for not giving up. Chapter 9. The Gardener's Patience. Trusting the growth you cannot see. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want overnight success, immediate results, and instant feedback. We plant a seed in the morning and expect to see a flower by the afternoon. When it doesn't appear, we get discouraged. We question the seed, we question the soil, and we question our own ability to grow anything at all. This impatience is the silent killer of great potential. You must cultivate the gardener's patience. A gardener understands that the most important work happens underground, in the dark, where nothing seems to be happening. They plant a seed. They water it. They tend to the soil. For days, weeks, sometimes months, the surface of the earth remains unchanged. To an impatient observer, it looks like a total failure. They would dig up the seed to see if it's working, thereby destroying the entire process. But the wise gardener knows better. They know that beneath the silent surface, a miracle is unfolding. Roots are taking hold. A foundation is being built. A complex system of strength is being established, all of it invisible to the naked eye. The gardener doesn't need to see the sprout to trust the process. Their faith is not in the immediate result, but in the consistency of their actions. They just keep watering. They just keep tending. And they trust that, in due time, the growth will break through the surface. Your journey is no different. There will be long seasons where you are putting in the work consistently, but the results are invisible. You're going to the gym, but the scale doesn't move. You're studying every night, but your test scores aren't improving yet. You're working on your business, but the profits aren't coming. This is the underground phase. This is where your character, your discipline, and your faith are being tested. Most people quit in this phase. They mistake the lack of visible progress for a lack of any progress at all. They abandon the field just before the harvest. But you must be wiser. You have to trust that every single action is a drop of water on the seed. Every workout is forging a stronger body, even if the mirror doesn't show it yet. Every hour of study is building new neural pathways, even if you can't feel it. Every disciplined day is another root growing deeper, making your foundation stronger for the success that is to come. The work is never wasted. The energy you invest in your own growth is never lost. It is compounding silently beneath the surface. Let's think of a bamboo tree. After you plant a Chinese bamboo seed, you see nothing for the first year, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. For 5 straight years, you water and fertilize the ground, and you see nothing but a tiny, unremarkable sprout. It would be easy to give up. It would feel utterly foolish to keep tending to that empty patch of dirt. But then, in the 5th year, something incredible happens. The bamboo tree explodes upwards, growing up to 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew for 5 years. For 5 years, it was silently building a massive root system, a foundation strong enough to support its explosive, visible growth. If it hadn't spent 5 years developing in the dark, it could never have sustained its height. When you see someone achieve overnight success, you are just seeing the 6 weeks of the bamboo's growth. You are not seeing the 5 years of invisible, patient, thankless work that came before it. You must be willing to do the 5 years of work. You must be willing to trust your own underground process. Detach yourself from the need for immediate validation. Let go of the timeline you think your life should follow. Comparison is the thief of joy, and comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 is a recipe for despair. You are on your own path, in your own season. Focus on the process, not the prize. Fall in love with the daily act of watering your seeds. Find satisfaction in the work itself, in the knowledge that you are honoring your commitments and building your character. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active faith. It is the power to keep giving your best when there is no external evidence that it's working. Trust the process. The invisible work you are doing today is building a future so strong, so tall, and so magnificent that one day the world will stand in awe of your sudden growth. Chapter 10. The North Star. Locking in on your vision until the end. When you are navigating a vast, unpredictable ocean, your survival depends on having a fixed point to guide you. A North Star. Something that remains constant even when the waves are crashing, the winds are howling, and you are lost in the darkness. On the journey of life, your vision is your North Star. It is the clear, unwavering picture of the future you are committed to creating. And you must lock into it with such intensity that nothing can pull you off course. A vision is not a flimsy wish or a vague hope. A wish is, I hope I get in shape someday. A vision is, I see myself as a person who is strong, energetic, and healthy. I wake up every morning with vitality. I fuel my body with nutritious food. I can run, climb, and play without limitation. A vision is detailed. It is emotional. It is so real in your mind that you can almost taste it. If you do not keep this vision in front of you every single day, the chaos of life will bury it. Your vision must be stronger than your emotions. On days when you feel discouraged, your vision must pull you forward. On days when you feel lazy, your vision must demand your action. On days when you feel lost, your vision must be the light that guides you back to the path. Staying locked in means you filter every decision through the lens of your vision. Before you say yes to an invitation, you ask, does this move me closer to my vision or further away? Before you spend your money, you ask, is this an investment in my vision or a distraction from it? Before you engage in a habit, you ask, does this align with the person my vision requires me to be? People fail not because their dreams are impossible, but because their vision wasn't clear enough or strong enough to withstand the pressures of reality. They allowed a temporary setback to redefine their long-term destiny. They allowed the opinion of someone who doesn't share their vision to plant seeds of doubt. Imagine a young architect who has a brilliant vision for a new kind of sustainable building. In her mind, she can see it clearly. The light-filled atrium, the green roof, the community spaces. This vision is her North Star. When a contractor tells her a certain material is too expensive, she doesn't abandon the vision. She finds a more innovative, cost-effective alternative. When a zoning committee denies her initial proposal, she doesn't tear up the blueprints. She reworks them, strengthens her case, and presents again. When her friends tell her she's working too hard, she smiles because she sees the finished building in her mind's eye, and that vision is more compelling than a momentary pleasure. Her loyalty is to the vision, not to convenience. You must become fiercely protective of your vision. It is a sacred space in your mind. Do not allow the negativity, cynicism, or small-mindedness of others to contaminate it. Not everyone will understand it, and that is okay. You are not building it for them. You are building it because it is the unique contribution you were meant to make. Your belief in your vision cannot be dependent on the applause of the crowd. There will be a gap between where you are now and where your vision is. Some days, that gap will feel like an impossibly vast canyon. That is when your focus must be absolute. You must see with your heart what your eyes cannot yet perceive. You have to live from that future reality, making choices in the present that the future you would be proud of. Locking in is an active daily practice. It means starting your day by reconnecting with your why. It means writing your vision down. It means creating a vision board. It means surrounding yourself with anything that reminds you of where you are going. You must marinate your mind in the reality you are working to create. So, hold that vision. Burn it into your heart. Let it be the last thing you think about before you fall asleep, and the first thing that pulls you out of bed in the morning. Let it be your anchor in the storm and your guide in the darkness. Do not just look at it. Lock in on it until you win, until the vision you hold in your mind becomes the reality you are standing in. Chapter 11. The Art of the Rise. How to get back up. Every single time life has a way of testing your resolve. It will knock you down. It's not a question of if, but when. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will face unexpected setbacks that leave you feeling bruised, disoriented, and lost. In these moments, the measure of your character is not found in the fact that you fell, but in the choice you make while you are on the ground. Falling is an event. Staying down is a decision. You must master the art of the rise. Every person you admire for their strength and success has a library of scars you cannot see. They have fallen, and they have fallen hard. The difference is, they did not build a home in their defeat. They did not allow a single chapter of failure to define their entire story. They learned that feeling lost is not a permanent address, but a temporary location. And they understood a fundamental truth. Your rise is always more powerful than your fall. When you get knocked down, your mind will present you with a choice. One voice, the voice of fear and comfort, will whisper, "Stay here. It's safer." If you don't try again, you can't fail again. Just protect yourself. The other voice, the voice of courage and resilience, will roar, "Get up. This is not how your story ends. The lesson is here. The strength is here. Get up." The path you choose in that moment determines the trajectory of your entire life. Rising again is not about pretending you're not hurt. It's not about ignoring the pain or the disappointment. It's about refusing to be defined by it. It's about acknowledging the wound and then making the conscious decision to heal and move forward. Consider a boxer in the ring. He takes a hard punch and hits the canvas. The crowd goes quiet. The referee starts the count. In that moment, he has a choice. He can stay down, listen to the pain, and accept defeat. Or he can hear the count as a countdown to his comeback. He can use those precious seconds to clear his head, to remember his training, to tap into his deepest reserves of will. When he pushes himself up off the canvas, even if he's unsteady, he has already won a critical battle. He has sent a message to his opponent, and more importantly, to himself. I am still in this fight. You have to learn to be that boxer in the ring of your own life. When you lose a job, when a relationship ends, when a project fails, you will hit the canvas. Allow yourself to feel the impact. But then, you must hear the count, and you must choose to rise. Dust yourself off. Assess the situation. What did you learn? How can you be smarter next time? How can you come back stronger? Every time you rise, you build a spiritual muscle. You build grit. You forge a level of resilience that makes you more formidable for the next challenge. A bone that breaks and heals back becomes stronger at the break point. Your spirit works the same way. The setbacks you overcome become the source of your greatest strength. You are not defined by your falls. You are defined by the courage it takes to stand back up again and again and again. You do not need to have all the answers to rise. You do not need a perfect plan. You just need to make a single move. Stand up. Take one step. Send one email. Make one call. Forward motion, no matter how small, is the antidote to despair. You are not supposed to be perfect. You are supposed to be relentless. So when life knocks you down, and it will, remember this. You are not done. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being tested. you are being forged. Rise tired, rise scared, rise bruised, rise uncertain. But rise. Every time you do, you are rewriting your past and reclaiming your future. You are proving that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the hero of your own story. And the best part of your story is yet to be written. Conclusion. We have journeyed together through the core tenets of a life built on purpose, power, and unwavering self-focus. We began with the stark, liberating truth that no one is coming to save you, placing the keys to your destiny firmly back in your own hands. We explored the art of being your own architect, laying the bricks of daily discipline to build an unshakable future. We learned to construct a mental fortress, silencing the noise of the world to hear the clarity of our own voice. We walked the lonely path of the dreamer, finding strength in our own conviction when no one else believed. We uncovered the superpower of consistency, the profound art of simply showing up. We declared war on the distractions that seek to steal our future, reclaiming our most sacred asset, our focus. We embraced the end of blame, choosing the radical power of absolute ownership. We learned to transform pain into fuel, pushing harder right at the moment we wanted to quit. We cultivated the gardener's patience, trusting the slow, invisible growth happening beneath the surface. We locked our gaze onto our North Star, our vision, letting it guide us through any storm. And finally, we mastered the art of the rise, learning to get back up every single time life knocked us down. The journey from where you are to where you want to be is not a single leap across a chasm. It is a series of small, intentional steps taken every single day. It is a choice, made again and again in the quiet moments of your life, to focus on you, to bet on you, and to build you until you win. Your life is not a story that is written for you. It is a fortress that is built by you. Now go build